Hey folks, welcome back to SupeRonpoNatural, the series where I recap and review every single episode of Supernatural until I go insane. No big housekeeping today, but I do want to say that I really enjoy reading the comments under these videos. My other videos don't get a ton of views, so it's really cool seeing the engagement under these ones. Makes me feel like I'm not wasting my time. Now, it may just be me, but sometimes I want to leave a comment on another YouTube video and I think, they'll just think I'm annoying or weird or something. I'm not going to do it. And if that's you with this series, let this be your sign to do it. I want to hear from you. I'm weird too, so let your freak flag fly. That's hard to say. Now, with no further ado, let's hop into Season 1, Episode 6, Skin. Yeah, I like the sound of that. It's not what you think. We see a woman tied to a chair. She's been cut up. It's pretty rough. Her abuser is holding a knife. SWAT guys get into the house. The abuser hears them. There's blood on the walls. They're getting closer. They find the damsel in distress. They keep searching and manage to catch the guy just as he's climbing out the window. He turns, and it's Dean? What? Has he gone insane? Is he being mind-controlled? Does it just look like Dean? Find out next time on No, wait. You're gonna find out right now. 1 week earlier, the boys are at a gas station. Sam's distracted. He's emailing his college friends, which Dean finds kinda silly considering Sam can't really tell them what he's doing. But Sam just tells them he's on a road trip with his brother and needs time because of Jess. Dean calls that lying. But screw that, telling a partial truth isn't the same as lying, especially if it's for a good reason. L, Dean. L. Anyway, Dean says Sam should just cut everyone out of his life because it's bad to get close to people. However, in this case, it works out well because one of Sam's emails gives them a case. It's from his friend Rebecca, whose brother has been charged with murder with a super strong case. DNA, fingerprints, the whole shebang. But Sam knew Zach and didn't think he was the murder type, so they're off to see Rebecca, who is, you guessed it, very pretty. Alright, does anyone else think she looks like Lori from The Walking Dead? I'm not crazy, right? Right? Rebecca says Zach came home and found his girlfriend Emily beaten up and tied to a chair, not breathing. He called 911, the cops showed up, and they arrested him. The cops have video of Zach getting home at 10:30, just before she was killed, but Rebecca was with Zach at the time and he didn't leave until after midnight. Well, that seems to cross off the mind-controlled Dean option, so I guess it's safe to say it was shape-shifting. Or is it? It is. Sam tells her Dean's a cop, so they can go check out the crime scene. Dean clarifies that he's a detective from Bisbee, Arizona. Dean calls Sam out on lying again, and this time, yeah, that was just a lie. It's a fair cop. For detective. Dean doesn't think it's their kind of problem though, which doesn't make much sense at all because the dude seems to have been in 2 places at once. Like, bro, you were so sure just a few episodes ago that a few people drowning in a lake were a monster, and now this dude has a murderous doppelganger and you're all cynical? Anyway, Sam points out what I just pointed out, so they go to the crime scene. Okay, seriously, if you don't think she looks like Lori, you're insane. We learn more info that's inconvenient for poor Zachy. No sign of a break-in, Emily let her attacker in, which is exactly what she'd do if it was Zach. Or looked like him. Sam asks who else might have done it. She says someone broke in and stole Zach's clothes, which is what a shapeshifter would do. In case it's not clear, I think this episode was super predictable. Yeah, spoiler alert, it's a shapeshifter. They probably could have been a bit more subtle about it, you know? A dog starts barking. She says it used to be a really sweet dog, but it changed around the time of the murder. She says it all offhandedly, but wouldn't she find that weird? Like, the murder was just a few days ago, right? Sam and Dean talk about the dog and how dogs have a keen sense of the paranormal. Dean's still denying that it's paranormal though, because apparently they're not allowed to agree on this stuff in Season 1. They ask to see the security tape, which Rebecca stole off the lawyer's desk. That's a little suspicious. Scene change. It's the murderer guy. Well, not actually the guy. Well, I mean, it is the murderer, but it's not the guy who's been charged with murder. It's the guy who pretended to be the guy in order to frame the guy.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
He's watching a hot babe, smiles creepily, and his eyes change because of course they do, it's supernatural. Back to the boys. And the girl. They're watching the tape. Sam asks for beers and sandwiches to distract her. Sam points out that Zach's eyes change in the tape. As Sam points out, some cultures believe a photograph can catch a glimpse of the soul, so they think it's a doppelganger. But see, this is a good usage of the eye thing because it was caused by the camera, like in episode 4 when they startled the demon and his eyes changed. This one gets a thumbs up. The businessman with the hot girlfriend comes home early. The client canceled at the last minute. He sees blood on the wall. He finds her. She's asking him not to hurt her anymore, which confuses him. He hears a sound, goes out into the hall, sees himself. Shapeshifter guy does the annoying kind of eye thing, and he's smacked with a bat. Back to the boys. Sam has realized that the footage doesn't show him going out, so there should be a trail to follow out back. One that the cops wouldn't follow because they think they have their man. Sam finds blood on the post with a clear handprint smear. But then they see an ambulance and follow it. Apparently a guy tried to kill his wife. They think otherwise. Dean learns that the guy was driving home from a business trip when his wife was attacked, and says he saw himself in the house. Dean's like,
could be the same thing doing it too.
And I'm like, yeah, Dean. Duh, Dean. Keep up, Dean. So they decide it's a shapeshifter. But it's odd because its trail disappeared, and it's not like shapeshifters can fly. But Dean points out that there's a sewer grate where the trail ends, so it's time to get stanky. They find gross flesh stuff and slime seemingly shed by the shifter, confirming that it's using the sewers to get around. Which is kind of funny because you think a shapeshifter would have the easiest time of anyone staying incognito. But I guess if you need to rip your skin off to change, you might need some privacy. Patreon.com/Ronpon. Patreon.com/Ronpon. Back to the car. Apparently, pretty much all kinds of shifters are killed with a silver bullet to the heart. Sam gets a call from Rebecca, who is pissed. She told the lawyers about going to the crime scene with a police officer. The lawyers checked it out and learned that there is no Detective Dean Winchester. Now they've tainted the sealed crime scene and made her look guilty as hell. Then Dean says a told us so.
You know what? I told us so.
And they're off to find the shifter in the smelly sewers. Sounds kind of like a Sonic game level. The smelly sewers! They find more nasty shifter sheddings. They find the shifter. It hits Dean. Pretty crazy that it was so quiet on a wet, echoey floor, and he does the eye thing again, but we'll move past it. Sam shoots the gun. Their ears would be destroyed, and they chase him out of the sewers. Sam finds Dean, asks if he found anything, but he hasn't. Wait, that's not Dean! Man, they're really abusing the eye thing in this episode. Sam and not Dean get back to the car. Sam decides to test to make sure it's him, asking him about a shapeshifter in San Antonio their dad fought. Not Dean corrects him, saying it was in Austin and it was actually a thought form. Test passed! Dang it. Sam passes Dean the keys. Test failed! Sam realizes it's not Dean because he grabbed the keys with his injured left arm, which is actually pretty neat. But then he hesitates, and not Dean smacks the crap out of him. Less neat. Sam wakes up all tied up, but not the good kind. Not Dean smacks him again. Sam wants to know where Dean is, but not Dean just taunts him about his upbringing. Then he reaches into Dean's memories and starts ranting about Dean's issues with Sam. Dean is envious that Sam left while he was stuck with her dad and didn't get to pursue his own dreams. Dean's jealous of Sam's friends, his life, while he's just a loner freak whose dad left him even though he did everything he wanted him to. I really like this bit of characterization, by the way. Until now, Dean kind of just seemed like a daddy's boy, so it's nice to know that he was a bit more conflicted than he let on. And he's just overcompensating when he's crapping on Sam. Then the shifter talks about Rebecca and how Dean would bang her if he had the chance, though I'm not sure that's exclusive to Dean because she's a looker. Yeah, you don't need to say it, I know. Speaking of, not Dean is at Becky's place, being all charming and whatnot. She's surprisingly cool with it right away, considering they may have ruined her brother's chance at freedom, but that's pretty privileged for you. I'm thinking she wouldn't be quite so immediately forgiving if it was like Garth at her door, you know? I love Garth. But you'll have to wait till season 7 for him. Anyway, she lets him and his pretty eyes into her house. Back to Sam. Hey, Dean's awake. Probably not wise to keep them in the same room, shifter guy.
You picked the handsome one.
Yeah, agreed. Not Dean is telling Rebecca about the shapeshifter, who is him, but she doesn't know it. I actually kind of like Not Dean. You know, aside from the murder. He's so much more playful and chill. It's kind of nice. That is until Becky calls the shifter a genetic freak, which clearly bugs him, but he hides it pretty well. He goes on a little speech about how he was born human, but was different, hideous, and hated. But then he learned to become someone else. Then he does the eye thing. Ugh. Sam's telling Dean about how the shifter was using Dean's memories, while Dean easily unties himself. Seriously, this shifter is surprisingly incompetent at kidnapping people. They realize it needs to keep them alive, so there's a psychic connection. They escape, and Sam wants to call the cops, but Dean isn't thrilled about having an APB out on himself. By the way, if you were wondering, APB means All Points Bulletin. It's a broadcast alert from one police station to all others in the area. The more you know. Back to Not Dean, who's starting to have a wee breakdown about needing someone to love him. Starts talking about needing a human touch, gets all up in her ear. She understandably freaks out and tries to call the police, but he grabs her and ties her up. Then cuts her up. Oh hey, this is where the episode started. He hears the SWAT team, tells her to shush. He's upset that he was interrupted. He gets caught and does an admittedly awesome escape. He makes it back to the sewers, rips off his clothes. Yeah, fan service. Then his nails start falling off, and he rips his skin off, and his teeth fall out. Okay, yeah, never mind, I'm out. And he changes into someone else. It's a mystery. There's a manhunt out for Dean with a sketch and description of him. Not ideal. Dean steps in a puddle, which is totally irrelevant to everything and may even have been unscripted, but I think it's a great little moment. I love pointless character moments like this. Not everything needs to serve the plot. Shut up. The boys need to stop the shifter, but they have no silver bullets. But they figure their car, which has weapons in it, is still at Rebecca's. So they're off to the scene of the crime. They find the car, but Dean jinxes it.
Finally, something went right tonight.
And the cops surround them. Sam stays back to distract them as Dean escapes. Sam tells Dean to stay out of the sewers alone. And what does Dean immediately do? Go into the sewers alone. He finds Rebecca tied up in the sewer. But Sam's talking to Rebecca in her home. I guess he was released by the police. But which one is the real? Oh, that one. Dean unties real Becca and helps her up. Meanwhile, fake Becca has turned back into not Dean, who plans on framing Dean for Sam's murder. He does the eye thing again. Seriously, this episode is bad for that. Not Dean stabs a knife into the pool table, and Sam kicks him, then uses the knife to cut his bindings. They fight, and it's pretty awesome seeing them fight each other. And it's a really well done fight scene. The camera's shaky enough to make it hectic, but not so shaky that you can't see what's happening, and the hits are super satisfying. Side note, Dean does such a good job of being a different character that I really do view him as a different character, even though he has the same face. So it doesn't really feel like the boys are fighting each other, even though that's obviously how it looks. Does anyone else feel that way, or is it just me? I was really impressed with Jensen's acting here. Sam fights well, but not well enough. Not Dean gets on top of him, starts choking him out, but then Dean comes up behind him and shoots him dead. Eat silver, sucker. Dean takes his necklace back from Doppeldean. Damn it, that's what I should have been calling him this whole time. Also, this shot with the two Deans looks incredibly fake, but I'll forgive it because the episode was good. In this episode, it's Sam with the moment with the pretty lady, but he's totally friend-zoned. And that's okay. Friends are fun. She walks off with her low-rise jeans. That's right, I've been biting my tongue. I noticed it this whole time. I love him. And Sam reveals that Zach will be released soon. Because the cops think Dean killed Emily. Bit of a good news, bad news situation. Back in the car for a final heart-to-heart. Dean says he's sorry Sam can't do his college thing, and Sam admits that he never really fit in anyway. Dean's upset that he'll have to miss his own funeral, and they bond over how they're both freaks. Just like me. Maybe just like you. That's okay. And that's the episode. I liked it a lot. My two big complaints are, well, the eye thing, and also that the flash forward at the beginning kind of removed all mystery from the whole episode, because it was incredibly obvious from the beginning that it was going to be a shapeshifter thing. But the rest of the episode was solid. There were some great character moments, and as I said, I was really impressed with Jensen's acting as Doppeldean. You know, he really only acted subtly different, but it seemed like a totally different character. Well done. I'll give this episode 8.5 out of 10, which is my highest so far. I suspect the early episodes are going to have a bit of a ceiling because I like a bit of serialization, and an episode that's really good and contributes to an overarching story is probably going to have a higher score, but it was a damn good episode. Anyway, that's it from me. And as I said earlier, don't be afraid to comment. I read them all, and I really like hearing from you, so if you have your own rating for the episode, or a fun fact, or, preferably glowing compliments of me, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Read it. Whatever, you know what I mean. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay smiling.